Good morning. So they've discovered a new species of snake. Can't remember what it's called, but it has blade-like fangs, and it actually climbs cliff faces. Yeah, it can rock climb. So I sent this actually to two people. I found it fascinating. Yeah, I was like, is it a new species that has evolved recently, or have we only just discovered it? Who knows? But I find these things fascinating. I'm a real nature/animal lover. And it was interesting because I had two very different responses. So the first person that I sent it to, and interestingly, they both focused on the rock climbing aspect of it. The first person wrote, "A snake that can climb, how terrifying." The second person wrote, "I particularly found the part about the snake climbing the cliff super cool." Isn't that funny? Yeah. Two very different opinions. And yet neither of those opinions change what the snake is. First of all, before we get started, yes, I have no light today. I just can't do the light today. I'm on about 1% battery, and I'm not referring to my phone. So yes, and that actually got me thinking, the snake, it got me thinking about, and a lot of you won't know who he is, but it might inspire you to find out a little bit more about him. I do believe that we owe him a bit of gratitude. At least take some time out and Wikipedia him at the very least, although he's worth much more than that. But Nikola Tesla. So and I'll just quickly say, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about and think I'm just referring to an electric car, which is very sad because for a lot of people that's what Tesla means. Nikola Tesla, so essentially if you were to take a satellite image, right, of the Earth at night, 95% of the electrical light that you would see is distributed by alternating current. And we owe that to Nikola Tesla, okay? So it would be a very different world. Yeah, he lit up the world. Yes, so I won't go too much into him though, because I might actually lose some of you, and I don't want to do that either. So Nikola Tesla, from when he was born, it was midnight, and there was a wild electrical storm, right? And the midwife said, he's going to be a child of the storm, and his mom said, no, he's going to be a child of the light. And it's so fascinating because before the child could even utter a word, we had two very different opinions of who he was and essentially how his life was going to pan out. And if you take a look at, and I just quickly want to say as well that on that, in my personal opinion, he was a child of the light who just underwent a lot of storms, yeah? But that's very different to viewing him as a child of the storm who had moments of light. Very different. But the thing with Tesla is you will get so many different accounts of him and so many different opinions of him. Particularly, I use him, one, because I just love him. I probably would have been one of those women who was besotted by him. Yes, and he never married. He towards the end, he actually ended up falling in love with a female pigeon. I probably would have been like, don't, what are you doing? I'm right here. You haven't seen me shake my tail feather. But yes, the thing is, he was just so out of step with the world. He was like the right guy at the wrong time. And so he was very misunderstood by a lot of people. He had the US Navy not ready for his ideas. But, then fast forward a few decades and turns out he's a godfather of droning. Somebody else won the Nobel Prize for radio, and it was pretty much riding off his coattails. Very misunderstood. What was the other? Oh yes, the outer space. So they called him crazy. They at one point had so many scientists saying, I think he's just losing it now. He's officially losing it. What a whack job, because he believed that he was receiving radio signals from outer space. Fast forward 100 years, and then you do get scientists saying, actually, it was true. Okay, fair enough, they weren't from Mars, but they were from one of Jupiter's moons, but he wasn't crazy, But, he was just completely out of step with so many people in his time, and that must have been incredibly alienating. And I've written a list of a few of the different descriptions that have been used from other people about Tesla. And it is quite an eclectic salad of descriptions. So let's go with some of them. Genius, wizard, magician, strikingly handsome, Renaissance man, insane, unearthly creature, lacking in social skills, light years ahead of his time. Yeah, quite a mixed bag there. And so where I want this to actually connect to you, whoever's watching, my 40-ish viewers, I want you to have a think about all the different, so if somebody were to interview everybody you've ever met, how many different accounts of you would there be? You know, how much would, I'm going to quote Queen Elizabeth here, recollections may vary. I do love that one. You get very, very different stories, yeah, from different people. And even when we pass, right? When you pass someday, when you cross over, especially as time starts to pass, what are people going to say about you? Yeah. So there are going to be so many different narratives. And the thing is, you have no control over them. You have no control over what people say, do, or feel about you. No control of it whatsoever. Some people try really hard to control the narrative, but you can't. And so what I really want to encourage you to do is just realize that you actually have this on my fridge. I've had it for years, a quote that I stumbled upon and I loved it. A thing is a thing, not what is said about the thing. Yeah. You are who you are, not what they say you are. Yeah. So I want you to just really feel free to just be you in the wildest sense of the word. And when I say wild, I'm not referring to, unless it calls you to, great, but I don't mean like, woo, party time. I mean, wild as in, think the Amazon versus, a beautiful manicured a garden is the word I'm looking for. There's a difference, right? Just your essence, just be you, because that's what you came here to do. Okay, live it and own it and love it. And I wish you all a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.